My name is Erin Wallace, and I've spent the last 3 years rebuilding myself from the ground up. At 34, I finally understood what it meant to love someone without losing yourself. Too bad I had to learn that lesson the hard way. I was wiping my lipstick off in the bathroom mirror when her post popped up. The caption read, "A man who can't handle a strong woman isn't a man." It got 143 likes in 20 minutes. The kicker? She posted it 10 minutes after I asked her not to spend the weekend alone with her ex, so I packed her suitcase, left it in the lobby, and changed the locks. She wanted to be strong. I gave her the space to prove it. The beginning wasn't like this. When I first met Kayla Monroe at my friend Bree's art gallery opening, she seemed like everything I'd been searching for. Confident, articulate, passionate about her work as a freelance branding consultant. She held court in the center of the room, gesturing animatedly as she explained the psychology behind color choices in corporate logos. Her energy was magnetic. "You're staring," Bree whispered, nudging me with her elbow. "I'm observing," I corrected, taking a sip of my champagne. "Same difference. Go talk to her." I wasn't usually one for bold moves, but something about that night felt different. Maybe it was the way the gallery lights caught the copper undertones in her hair, or how she threw her head back when she laughed. Whatever it was, I found myself walking over. "I couldn't help but overhear your theory about blue logos and trustworthiness," I said. "What about architecture firms that use orange?" She turned to me, one eyebrow raised, a smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "Depends. Are we talking burnt orange or traffic cone orange?" "Somewhere in between. Sunset orange, maybe?" The architect reveals herself. She extended her hand. "Kayla Monroe, and you're trying to tell me your firm uses orange because it represents creativity and energy, not because someone's nephew designed it in 1987 and no one's bothered to change it." I laughed, genuinely surprised. "Erin Wallace, and it was the founder's daughter. Actually, 1993. That was how it started. Easy banter over wine, exchanged numbers, a coffee date that turned into dinner when we couldn't stop talking. Kayla had this way of making every conversation feel like an adventure. She'd lived in 5 different cities, spoke 3 languages badly, her words, and had opinions about everything from sustainable fashion to cryptocurrency. Our first real date was at a hole-in-the-wall Vietnamese restaurant she swore served the best pho outside of Hanoi. She ordered for both of us in surprisingly decent Vietnamese, charming the elderly owner into bringing us off-menu spring rolls. "I spent 6 months in Saigon doing remote work," she explained, expertly wielding her chopsticks. "Best decision I ever made. Taught me that comfort zones are just pretty prisons we build for ourselves." "And what comfort zone were you escaping?" She paused, considering. The idea that I needed anyone's permission to live my life. My ex wanted me to be this perfect corporate girlfriend, quiet dinners, networking events, smile and nod while the men talked business. I realized I was suffocating. "Good for you for getting out," I said, meaning it. My own last relationship had ended with Liam telling me I was too independent for my own good, whatever that meant. "The universe rewards women who choose themselves," Kayla said, raising her glass of iced coffee in a toast. "To freedom." "To freedom," I echoed. Looking back, I should have paid more attention to the way she said it. Freedom, for Kayla, wasn't just important, it was a religion. The first few months were intoxicating. Kayla brought spontaneity into my carefully ordered life. Weekend trips planned the night before, midnight walks through the city, surprise picnics in my office when I worked late. She'd show up at my apartment with takeout from whatever restaurant had caught her eye, always with a story about the owner or the neighborhood. "You need more color in here," she announced one Saturday, surveying my admittedly beige living room. "It's like a sensory deprivation chamber." "It's calming," I defended. "Minimalist." "It's depressing. Come on, we're going shopping." We spent the day at flea markets and vintage stores, Kayla haggling with vendors like she'd been doing it all her life. By evening, my apartment sported jewel-toned throw pillows, a vibrant abstract painting, and plants in mismatched ceramic pots. Better, she declared, collapsing onto my couch. Now it looks like someone actually lives here. I sat beside her, admiring the transformation. I love it, thank you. She kissed me then, soft and slow. I love that you let me do this. My ex would have freaked out about changing anything without a committee meeting first. Well, I'm not your ex, I said. No, she agreed, pulling me closer. You're definitely not. By month 3, she was spending most nights at my place. Her studio apartment in Brooklyn was charming but tiny, she said, and my Upper West Side 2-bedroom had space to breathe. I didn't mind. I liked waking up to her making Turkish coffee in my kitchen, liked finding her jewelry scattered across my dresser, liked the way she sang in the shower. You sure you don't mind? She asked one morning, watching me reorganize my closet to make room for her growing collection of clothes. I offered, didn't I? Yeah, but offering and wanting are different things sometimes. I turned to face her. She was sitting cross-legged on my bed, wearing one of my old Columbia t-shirts, her hair still messy from sleep. I want you here, Kayla. Is that clear enough? She smiled, but something flickered behind her eyes. Crystal clear. Just making sure we're on the same page about this being, convenient, not permanent. Of course, I said, though something in my chest tightened. Whatever works for both of us. She started posting more frequently on Instagram around month 4. Inspirational quotes. Mostly. A queen doesn't need a king to build her empire. The strongest actions for a woman is to love herself. Be herself and shine amongst those who never believed she could. Don't mistake my kindness for weakness. Building your brand? I asked one evening, watching her carefully stage a photo of her laptop and coffee. Exactly. Personal branding is everything in my field. Clients want to hire someone who walks the walk, I nodded, though privately I wondered who she was trying to convince. Her posts got dozens of likes and comments, mostly from women cheering her on. Yes, Queen. Preach. This is the energy we need. Kayla would read them aloud sometimes, glowing with validation. See? This is why I do it. Women need to see other women living authentically. Authentically, I repeated. You think it's silly? I didn't say that. You didn't have to. You've got that little crease between your eyebrows that shows up when you're judging something. I consciously relaxed my face. I'm not judging. I just think there's a difference between living authentically and performing authenticity for an audience. She was quiet for a moment. Then, not everyone can afford to be private. Aaron, some of us need to be visible to survive. It was our first real disagreement. Small but significant. We made up that night. Kayla apologizing for snapping, me apologizing for being critical, but the pattern was set. By month 5, the red flags were harder to ignore. Kayla would disappear for entire weekends, claiming she needed creative solitude to work on projects. She'd come back energized and affectionate, but vague about where she'd been. I thought we were having dinner with Bree and Marcus on Saturday, I said one Thursday evening. Oh, I can't. I've got a thing. A thing? A creative workshop, brand storytelling for entrepreneurs. I told you about it. She hadn't, but I let it slide. Where is it? Upstate somewhere. One of those retreat center places. You know how these things are. I didn't, actually. Will you have cell service? She laughed, but it sounded forced. God, I hope not. The whole point is to disconnect and focus. Don't worry. I'll be back Sunday night. That weekend, I tried not to think about where she was or who she was with. I met Bree for brunch, went to the gym, caught up on work, but her Instagram was active. Photos of sunrise yoga, artfully arranged journal pages, quotes about feeding your soul with solitude. I thought you weren't going to have cell service, I said when she returned Sunday night, glowing and exhausted. I didn't. These are all scheduled posts, part of maintaining consistent engagement. Ah. She set down her weekend bag and studied me. What's wrong? Nothing. I just missed you. I missed you too. She wrapped her arms around me. smelling like essential oils and something else. Men's cologne? But this is important for my business. Aaron, you understand that, right? Of course. But I was starting to wonder what exactly I was understanding. The breaking point came 6 months in. We were having dinner at our favorite Thai place when Kayla's phone buzzed. She glanced at it and smiled, quickly typing a response. "Sorry, client thing," she said, not looking up. Her phone was angled just enough that I could see the contact name, Julian. "I didn't know you were working with Julian again," I said carefully. Julian Drake, her ex, was supposedly ancient history, a mistake from her past. She'd called him controlling, manipulative, emotionally unavailable. She looked up sharply. "Were you reading my texts? Your phone is literally right there. The name is visible." "That doesn't give you the right to spy on me." "I wasn't spying, and you didn't answer my question." She sighed dramatically. "He referred a client to me. It's purely professional." "Professional texts at 9 p.m.? "Yes, Aaron. Professional texts at 9 p.m. This is how business works in the gig economy. Not all of us have the luxury of office hours." "That's not what this is about, and you know it." "Then what is it about? Say it." I took a breath. "I'm uncomfortable with you texting your ex, especially when you're being secretive about it." "Secretive? I'm sitting right here." "You literally just lied and said it was a client." "Julian is a client. Technically, he referred someone, so I was updating him on the project." "Kayla." "What? What do you want me to say? That I should turn down business because my girlfriend is insecure?" The word stung. "I'm not insecure. I'm setting a boundary." "Boundaries?" she scoffed. "That's just another word for control." We finished dinner in tense silence. In the cab home, she was on her phone again, fingers flying over the keyboard. This time, she made sure to angle the screen away from me. That night, she stayed on her side of the bed, a careful distance between us. I lay awake thinking about all the small moments that had led to this one. The vague weekend plans, the constant need for space while simultaneously taking over my apartment, the way she twisted every concern into an attack on her independence. "I love you," I whispered into the darkness. "Love you too," she murmured, already half asleep. But did she? Or did she just love what I provided? The stability, the nice apartment, the safety net that allowed her to play at being a free spirit without any real risk? The next morning, she was gone before I woke up. A note on the kitchen counter. "Early meeting. Coffee's ready. Let's talk tonight. Kay." I spent the day distracted at work, unable to focus on the residential complex designs that needed my approval. My assistant knocked twice before I heard her. "Earth to Aaron. Mr. Baird wants to see you in his office." "Now?" 5 minutes ago, actually." I found my boss standing at his window, hands clasped behind his back, surveying the Manhattan skyline like a general planning a campaign. "Wallace, how's the Riverside project coming?" "On schedule. Sir, the client approved the revised plans yesterday." "Good, good." He turned to face me. "I'm putting you up for senior associate. The partners meet next month." I blinked, stunned. "Sir, thank you. I didn't expect—" "You've earned it. Your work's been exceptional, especially given the complexity of your recent projects. Keep it up." I floated back to my desk, wanting desperately to share the news with someone. My thumb hovered over Kayla's contact, but something held me back. Instead, I texted Bree. "Holy shit, congratulations! Drinks tonight to celebrate?" "Can't tonight. Rain check?" "Everything okay?" I stared at the screen, unsure how to answer. "Yeah, just need to handle something at home." Ominous. Call if you need backup. That evening, I got home to find Kayla already there, cooking. The apartment smelled like garlic and basil, her signature pasta sauce bubbling on the stove. "Peace offering," she said, handing me a glass of wine. "I was a bitch last night." "You weren't." "I was. You expressed a feeling, and I turned it into an attack. That wasn't fair." I sipped the wine, wary of this sudden shift. "Thank you for saying that. I talked to my therapist today. She helped me see that I might be projecting some of my past relationship trauma onto you. Julian used to monitor my texts, track my location, interrogate me about every male friend. When you mentioned him last night, I just reacted. I'm not Julian, I said softly. I know. God, I know. You're nothing like him. You're patient and kind, and you give me so much space to be myself. I'm sorry I made you feel like the bad guy for having feelings. We talked through dinner, Kayla opening up more than she had in months about her past relationships, her fear of being controlled, her need to maintain her independence even within a partnership. I shared my own fears about being taken advantage of, about giving too much and receiving too little in return. I don't want to be that person to you, she said, reaching across the table to take my hand. I love what we have. I love you. I love you too. She squeezed my hand. So we're good? We're good. We made love that night with a tenderness that had been missing for weeks. Afterward, she traced patterns on my skin, humming contentedly. Oh, I forgot to mention, she said casually. There's this creative retreat next weekend. 2 days of workshops and networking. It's at this gorgeous lake house in the Catskills. Sounds nice. Who's running it? A collective of brand strategists and creative directors. Really high-level stuff. It could be huge for my business. That's exciting. How much is it? Actually, I got a scholarship. Well, partial scholarship. One of the organizers knows my work and offered me a discount. That's amazing, babe. You should definitely go. She was quiet for a moment. The thing is, Julian's going to be there. I felt my body tense. What? He's one of the workshop leaders, teaching a session on authentic brand narratives or something. I found out today. And you still want to go? I mean, there'll be like 30 other people there. It's not like we'll be alone, and this could really elevate my career. I sat up, needing distance to think clearly. Kayla, I'm not comfortable with this. I knew you'd say that. Then why did you wait until now to tell me? Because I wanted us to have a nice evening first, to remember that we're solid, that you trust me. Trust isn't the issue, isn't it? You're basically saying you don't trust me to be in the same building as my ex. That's not... I took a breath, trying to find the right words. It's about respect, about acknowledging that some situations are inappropriate when you're in a committed relationship. So I should miss a career opportunity because of your jealousy? It's not jealousy, it's a boundary. She sat up too, pulling the sheet around herself like armor. There's that word again, boundary. You know what I think? I think you use that word when you want to control me but don't want to admit it. That's not fair. Isn't it? I've bent over backward to make you feel secure. I text you constantly when I'm out. I practically live here even though I'm still paying rent on my place. I've integrated you into every part of my life. What more do you want? I want you not to spend a weekend at a remote lake house with your ex-boyfriend. The words hung in the air between us. Kayla's face cycled through emotions. Hurt, anger, defiance. You know what? I wasn't asking for permission. I was informing you as a courtesy. I'm going to this retreat because it's important for my career. If you can't handle that, maybe you need to examine why you're so insecure. She got up and started dressing, movements sharp with anger. Where are you going? My place. I need some space to think. Kayla, please, let's talk about this. We just did. You made your position clear, and I've made mine. I'll see you when I get back from the retreat. So that's it? You're just deciding unilaterally? She paused at the bedroom door, not turning around. Funny how when I make a decision about my own life, it's unilateral, but when you declare what I can and can't do, it's a boundary. That's not... I'll get the rest of my stuff tomorrow while you're at work. I think we both need some time to figure out what we really want from this relationship. The front door slammed behind her, leaving me alone in the bed that still smelled like her perfume. I reached for my phone, then put it down. What was there to say that hadn't already been said? I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I lay there replaying every conversation, every red flag I'd ignored, every time I'd chosen peace over principle. When had I become this person? the cool girlfriend who never complained, who accepted crumbs disguised as independence. My phone buzzed at 3 a.m. Instagram notification. Against my better judgment, I opened it. Kayla had posted a quote against a background of storm clouds. "A man who can't handle a strong woman isn't a man." The comments were already rolling in, her followers, who knew nothing about our relationship, cheering her on. "Yes, queen. Drop him, sis. Know your worth." I stared at the screen. Something cold settling in my stomach. The post was public. My friends followed her, my colleagues, my family, and while none of them would necessarily know it was about me, I knew. She'd taken our private conflict and turned it into content, into a rallying cry for her brand of performative empowerment. I screenshotted the post, then opened our text thread, typed and deleted a dozen messages. What was the point? She'd already made her choice. Instead, I got up and made coffee, watched the sunrise from my living room window. The city was waking up, indifferent to my personal drama. Life would go on, with or without Kayla Monroe in it. By the time I left for work, I'd made my decision. She wanted to be strong. I'd give her the opportunity to prove it. I called in sick to work, something I'd never done when I wasn't actually ill. My assistant was shocked. "Are you okay? You sound different." "I'm fine. Sandra, just need a personal day. Can you reschedule my meetings?" "Of course. Feel better?" I spent the morning methodically packing Kayla's belongings, her clothes, carefully folded into the suitcases she kept under my bed, her toiletries from the bathroom, each bottle wrapped to prevent spills, the jewelry scattered across my dresser, sorted into small bags, the books she'd left on my nightstand, the yoga mat in the corner, the expensive blender she'd insisted we needed for her morning smoothies. It was amazing how much of herself she'd moved in while maintaining the fiction that this was temporary, that she was just staying over. I found things I'd forgotten about, a sketch she'd done of me sleeping, tucked into one of her notebooks, ticket stubs from concerts and shows we'd attended together, a dried flower from our 6-month anniversary dinner. For a moment, I wavered. Was I overreacting? Throwing away something good over one fight? Then I remembered the Instagram post, the public humiliation disguised as empowerment, the way she'd twisted my reasonable boundary into an attack on her strength. No, this was who Kayla was when she didn't get her way. I loaded everything into her suitcases and boxes, then called a locksmith. He arrived within an hour, efficient and discreet. "Bad breakup?" he asked, installing the new deadbolt. "Something like that." "I see it all the time. You're doing the right thing, changing the locks. Can't be too careful." By afternoon, I'd moved all of Kayla's belongings to the lobby. I spoke with the doorman, explaining the situation in minimal detail. "Ms. Monroe will be picking up her things. She's no longer authorized to enter the building." "I understand. Ms. Wallace, I'll inform the evening shift." I left a note on top of the suitcases. "You're strong enough to be on your own. So now, you are." Then I went back upstairs and did something I should have done months ago. I called Bree. "Finally, I've been worried. What's going on?" I told her everything. The retreat, the ex, the Instagram post. She listened without interrupting, occasionally making sympathetic noises. "Jesus, Aaron, I'm so sorry. I feel responsible. I introduced you to." "You couldn't have known." "Still, what do you need? Wine? Ice cream? An alibi?" "Just your company. Can you come over?" Already putting on my shoes. She arrived with 2 bottles of wine and takeout from my favorite Indian place. We sat on my newly Kayla-free couch, drinking straight from the bottles. "I can't believe she posted that," Bree said, scrolling through the comments on her phone. "Oh wait, yes I can. This is exactly her brand of bullshit." "You never liked her." "I liked her fine. I just saw through her faster than you did. All that strong, independent woman crap while she was basically living rent-free in your apartment? Please. She paid for groceries sometimes." "Aaron, come on." I sighed. "I know. I wanted it to work. I'm 34. Bree, I'm tired of starting over." Better to start over than to settle for someone who treats you like an apartment with benefits. We were halfway through the second bottle when my phone started buzzing. Kayla calling. I declined. She called again and again. "Turn it off," Bree advised. "I can't. What if there's an emergency?" "The only emergency is that she just realized her free ride is over." The texts started coming in rapid fire. "What the fuck, Aaron? You changed the locks? This is insane. We had one fight. Where am I supposed to go? Please answer your phone. This isn't you. This is cruel. I'm coming over. We need to talk." I showed Bree the messages. She snorted. Now who can't handle a strong woman? 20 minutes later, the doorman called. "Ms. Wallace? Ms. Monroe is here. She's quite insistent about coming up." "She's not authorized, remember?" "Yes, ma'am. I've explained that. She's not taking it well." I could hear Kayla's voice in the background, shrill with anger. "Thank you. Robert, please ask her to collect her things and leave." "Will do, ma'am." Bree poured more wine. This is better than reality TV. My phone rang again. This time, I answered. "How dare you?" Kayla spat without preamble. "How fucking dare you lock me out like I'm some kind of—" "You made your choice," I said calmly. "I'm simply respecting it." "My choice? You gave me an ultimatum." "I expressed a boundary. You decided to cross it. Actions have consequences." "So you throw me out on the street? Do you know how this looks?" "How what looks?" "Me standing here with my stuff while Robert smirks at me? It's humiliating." I almost laughed. "You want to talk about humiliation? Check your Instagram." "What does that have to do with anything?" "A man who can't handle a strong woman isn't a man. Ring any bells?" Silence, then. "That wasn't about you." "Really? Posted 10 minutes after our fight?" "It was a general observation." "Bullshit. You took our private relationship issue and turned it into content. You literally monetized our conflict for likes." "You're being dramatic." "I'm being dramatic? You're the one standing in my lobby making a scene." "Because you locked me out. Where am I supposed to sleep?" "Your apartment? The one you insisted on keeping for your freedom? You know my lease is up in 3 weeks. Then I suggest you start apartment hunting, or maybe Julian has a couch you can crash on." "That's low, Aaron, really fucking low." "Is it? You're the one who chose a weekend with him over our relationship." "It's a professional retreat." "Then I'm sure you'll have a lovely professional time. Goodbye, Kayla." I hung up and blocked her number. Then I went through and blocked her on all social media platforms. The relief was immediate, like removing a too tight shoe. "Proud of you," Bree said, clinking her bottle against mine. "I don't feel proud. I feel empty." "That's just the space where all her drama used to be. You'll fill it with better things." The next few days were strange. I'd grown so accustomed to Kayla's constant presence, her texts and calls and Instagram updates, that the silence felt alien. I threw myself into work, grateful for the distraction of deadlines and client meetings. Mr. Baird stopped by my desk Thursday afternoon. "You seem focused this week. Good. Keep that energy for the partner meeting." "Yes, sir. Thank you." He started to leave, then turned back. "Whatever was distracting you before, I'm glad you've handled it. Your best work happens when you're not divided." I thought about that as I walked home. How divided I'd been. Constantly managing Kayla's moods and needs while trying to maintain my own life. How much energy I'd wasted translating her behavior into something acceptable. Friday evening, Liam texted out of the blue. We'd maintained a cordial relationship after our breakup, checking in occasionally. "Hey, stranger. Bree mentioned you're going through it. Want to grab a drink and compare war stories?" I hesitated, then agreed. We met at a quiet bar in the village, the kind of place that served wine in actual glasses and didn't blast music. "You look good," he said, giving me a brief hug. "Stressed, but good?" "Thanks, I think." We ordered drinks and caught up on work, mutual friends, his new relationship with a pediatric nurse named Amy, who apparently loved his need for detailed weekend plans. "She makes fun of my spreadsheets, but she also adds to them," he said with a fond smile. Last week she color-coded our vacation itinerary. I'm happy for you, I said, meaning it. You found your person. You will too. Kayla wasn't it. How do you know about Kayla? Bree. Also, I saw the Instagram post. Very subtle. I groaned. How many people do you think knew it was about me? Honestly, only the ones who matter. And we're all on your side. There shouldn't be sides. It's not a war. Isn't it, though? She publicly attacked you. That's a declaration of hostilities if I ever saw one. We talked until the bar closed, dissecting relationships past and present. It felt good to have perspective from someone who'd known me before Kayla, who could remind me who I was without her. You know what your problem is? Liam said as we waited for our Ubers. You're too generous. You see someone's potential and you invest in it, even when they show you they're not worth the investment. That's not a problem. That's optimism. It's a problem when it makes you ignore reality. Kayla showed you who she was pretty early, didn't she? The constant need for attention, the way she twisted everything to make herself the victim, the refusal to actually commit while taking everything you offered. When you put it like that, I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I'm trying to make you recognize the pattern so you don't repeat it. His Uber arrived first. Before getting in, he turned back. You deserve someone who chooses you, Aaron, publicly, privately, consistently. Don't settle for less. The weekend Kayla was at her retreat. I deep cleaned my apartment, scrubbed every surface, reorganized every drawer, reclaimed every space she'd colonized. I found remnants of her everywhere. Hair ties, a forgotten earring, notes she'd left on my mirror in lipstick. I gathered them all and threw them away. Sunday evening, I was settling in with a book when my doorman called. Ms. Wallace? There's a Ms. Monroe here. She says she left something important in your apartment. I sighed. She has all her belongings. She's quite insistent. Says it's a legal document she needs for work. I knew it was bullshit, but I also knew Kayla wouldn't leave without causing a scene. Fine, send her up, but stay close, please. Of course, ma'am. I opened the door before she could knock. She looked terrible. Her usually perfect hair was limp, her makeup smudged. She was wearing the same clothes I'd seen in her retreat photos. There's no document, I said. I know, I needed to see you. Why? Can I come in, please? 5 minutes? Against my better judgment, I stepped aside. She walked into the apartment like she was entering a museum, taking in the changes. You moved the couch. I moved everything. It's my space again. She turned to face me, eyes filling with tears. Aaron, I fucked up. I know I did. The retreat was a disaster. Julian brought his new girlfriend. They were all over each other the entire time. I'm sorry you had a bad weekend. That's not... I realized something. You were right. About everything. I've been using you, not consciously, but I've been so scared of being vulnerable that I kept one foot out the door. I sabotaged us because I was terrified of how much I need you. Needed. Past tense. What you needed was a safe place to land between adventures. That's not true. I love you. You love what I provided. Stability, security, unconditional support while you figured yourself out. That's not the same as loving me. Please, Aaron, I'll go to therapy. I'll delete Instagram. You'll what? Change your entire personality? Become someone you're not? That's not what I want. Kayla, I want someone who doesn't need to be convinced to respect me. She was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. You're the only one who ever loved me unconditionally. Love without boundaries isn't love, I said quietly. It's martyrdom, and I'm done being a martyr. So that's it? We're just over? We've been over since you chose that retreat. This is just the epilogue. She stood there for a moment, seeming to shrink into herself. Then she straightened, wiping her face. Fine, you win. I hope you're happy. I'm not trying to win anything. I'm trying to protect my peace. Your peace, she scoffed. Must be nice to afford peace. Everyone can afford it. The price is just higher for some. She left without another word, I locked the door behind her and put on the chain for good measure. Then I sat on my repositioned couch and let myself feel the weight of the ending. The next few weeks were a blur of work and self-care. The partner meeting went better than expected. My promotion approved unanimously. I celebrated with Bree and a few other friends, no longer worried about Kayla feeling left out or causing drama. I started therapy, working through my patterns of overgiving and undervaluing myself. My therapist, a no-nonsense woman named Dr. Chen, called me out on my tendency to intellectualize emotions rather than feeling them. "You analyze relationships like you're designing a building," she observed, "looking for structural flaws, load-bearing walls, points of failure, but people aren't architecture. They're messy and unpredictable. So how do I protect myself?" By trusting yourself. You knew Kayla was wrong for you long before the retreat incident. You just didn't trust your instincts. She was right. Every red flag I'd noted and dismissed, every boundary I'd let slide, every time I'd chosen her comfort over my own needs, I'd known. I just hoped I was wrong. I started dating again slowly, cautiously. Coffee dates that didn't need to become dinners. Dinners that didn't need to become relationships. I was learning to enjoy my own company again, to fill my apartment with my own energy. 3 months after the breakup, I was at a bookstore in Park Slope when I saw her. Kayla was browsing the self-help section. Of course, she looked different. Her hair was shorter, dyed a severe black. She was thinner, her clothes hanging loose. I could have left without her seeing me. Instead, I walked over. "Kayla." She startled, nearly dropping the book she was holding. "The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People." Classic. "Erin, hi. You look good." "Thanks. How are you?" She laughed, but it sounded hollow. "I'm surviving. Freelancing is harder than I remembered. Turns out my brand needed some work." "I'm sorry to hear that." "Are you? Because I wouldn't blame you for enjoying the schadenfreude. I don't enjoy seeing you struggle. I just couldn't be part of it anymore." She nodded, fidgeting with the book. "I've been thinking about what you said, about boundaries and martyrdom. You were right." "I know. I'm in therapy now, real therapy, not just Instagram psychology, trying to figure out why I sabotage good things." "That's great. I hope it helps. Are you seeing anyone?" I thought about lying, then decided against it. "Yes, her name is Megan. She's a civil engineer, very straightforward, very honest, no games." "Good for you." She meant it. I could tell. I should probably... "Yeah, me too. Take care, Kayla." "You too." I left her there among the self-help books, walking out into the Brooklyn afternoon feeling lighter than I had in months. Closure, it turned out, wasn't about grand gestures or dramatic confrontations. Sometimes it was just 2 people acknowledging the end and walking away. Megan was waiting at the coffee shop down the street, reading a structural engineering journal because of course she was. "How'd it go?" she asked, looking up as I slid into the seat across from her. "Fine, good, actually, very civil." "Do you need to talk about it?" "No, I'm good. Tell me about your bridge project instead." She launched into an explanation of suspension versus cable-stayed designs, animated and passionate about her work. I listened, really listened, not waiting for subtext or hidden meanings. What she said was what she meant. It was refreshing. That night, I posted something on my private Instagram for the first time since the breakup. Just a photo of the sunset from my fire escape. No caption needed. Bree liked it immediately, commenting with a heart emoji. I thought about adding a quote, something about strength or independence or knowing your worth. Then I remembered Kayla's constant need to perform her empowerment, to broadcast every revelation. Instead, I put my phone away and made dinner. A simple pasta with the good olive oil, eaten at my table with a glass of wine and a book. No documentation, no audience, no one to perform for. Just me, choosing myself quietly, consistently, without needing to announce it to the world. A month later, Kayla's Instagram account was gone, deleted or deactivated. I didn't know and didn't check. The mutual friends who still followed her said she'd gone quiet. focusing on rebuilding her business without the personal branding aspect. She seems different, Bree reported over brunch. Calmer, less performative. Good for her. You really mean that, don't you? I do. I want her to be happy. I just couldn't be the foundation for that happiness anymore. Look at you, all evolved and mature. I have my moments. The seasons changed, summer fading into fall. I moved into my senior associate role, taking on bigger projects, mentoring junior architects. Megan and I grew closer, our relationship built on mutual respect and clear communication. She had her own apartment, her own friends, her own life that complemented mine without consuming it. I love how independent you are. She told me one night, after I declined to join her at a work event because I had plans with Bree. Really? My ex said I was too independent. Then your ex was an idiot. Independence is sexy. Codependence is not. I thought about Kayla then, how she'd preached independence while practicing dependence, how she'd wanted freedom for herself but security from me. The cognitive dissonance must have been exhausting. The first snow of winter was falling when I got the email. Kayla's name in my inbox made my heart skip, but not in the way it once had. Aaron, I've debated sending this for months. I know you've moved on, and I respect that. I'm not trying to reconnect or rekindle anything. I just wanted to say thank you. When you changed those locks, I thought you were being cruel. I spent weeks painting you as the villain in my story, the controlling ex who couldn't handle a strong woman. But somewhere in therapy, probably around the time my therapist asked me why I needed everyone to see me as strong instead of just being strong, I realized the truth. You weren't punishing me, you were freeing both of us. I'm writing this from my own apartment, a studio in Queens that I pay for entirely by myself. It's small and the radiator clanks, but it's mine. I cook my own meals, pay my own bills, handle my own loneliness without making it someone else's responsibility. I'm learning the difference between being alone and being independent. Turns out, I'd never really known. I hope you're happy. I hope your new relationship is everything ours wasn't. Stable, mutual, honest. You deserve someone who chooses you completely, not just when it's convenient. Thank you for being strong enough to let me go. It turns out that's what real strength looks like. With gratitude and respect, Kayla. P.S. I kept the plant you bought me. It's thriving. Turns out I can keep something alive when I'm actually paying attention. I read the email twice, then closed my laptop, through my office window. The snow was falling harder, blanketing the city in temporary quiet. I didn't reply. There was nothing left to say that hadn't been said in the space between us, but I appreciated the gesture, the growth it represented. That night, Megan cooked dinner at my apartment. We moved around each other in the kitchen with easy familiarity. No performance, no pretense. She told me about her day, a crisis with a contractor that she'd handled with typical efficiency. I told her about my new project, a community center in the Bronx that would serve 3 neighborhoods. I love watching you talk about your work, she said, plating our salmon. You light up. So do you, when you talk about bridges. We're such nerds. The best kind. After dinner, we sat on my couch, in its new position that Kayla had noticed, watching the snowfall. Megan had her own drawer in my dresser now, a toothbrush in my bathroom, a key to my apartment, but she also had her own space to retreat to, her own life that existed fully outside of mine. I love you, I said, the words coming easily, without calculation. I love you too, she replied, kissing my temple. Want to watch that documentary about the Brooklyn Bridge? You really know how to romance a girl. Is that a yes? Obviously. We settled in, her arm around me, my head on her shoulder, on the TV. Engineers from the 1800s solved impossible problems with math and steel and determination. Outside, the snow continued to fall, erasing the city's hard edges, making everything soft and new. I thought about Kayla's email, about her studio in Queens with the clanking radiator. I hope she was warm. I hope she was learning to like her own company. I hope she was finding real strength in solitude, not the performed kind she used to broadcast to the world. But mostly, I didn't think about her at all. I was too busy building my own life, one careful choice at a time, with someone who understood that real love didn't require you to break yourself to prove it. "You're smiling," Megan observed. "Just thinking." About? About how sometimes the best thing you can do for someone is refuse to be their safety net. That's very philosophical for a Sunday night. I have my moments. Yes, she agreed, pulling me closer. You do? The documentary played on, a testament to what could be built when vision met determination. Outside, the snow kept falling, covering the old landscape, preparing the ground for whatever came next. I closed my eyes and let myself rest in the quiet strength of a life rebuilt on solid ground. No performance, no audience, no quotes needed. Just the simple, revolutionary act of choosing myself, again and again, until it became as natural as breathing. The city slept beneath its blanket of snow, and I slept too. Peaceful in the knowledge that the strongest thing I'd ever done was refuse to confuse someone else's weakness with my own strength. Somewhere in Queens, a plant thrived in a small apartment, proof that even the most neglected things could grow when given proper attention. And somewhere in Manhattan, two women who understood the architecture of healthy love built something worth keeping, one honest day at a time. The locks had been changed, the door was closed, and on the other side of it, life went on, better than before.